Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with William Mill and Empire Fight Store. Always pleased to be joined by Sean O'Hagan. Sean, look, we're here, Oklahoma. Maxi Hughes defends his IBO title and also fighting for the chance world title eliminator against George Kambosos over here. We're here, it is fight week. How are you feeling? He looks in terrific shape and mentally prepared for this.
I think Max is in the shape of his life, to be honest with you. We made a few minor adjustments to our training camp and routines, as you do with an ageing fighter. And to be honest with you, he's looking better than he's ever looked. Absolutely superb condition.
I was going to ask you this because you've had Maxi now for a while now. In terms of a camp, everyone says, "Oh, it's been my best ever camp," but he really seems to be, peaking and going through the gears at the right time. How pleased are you with him and where he's at leading into this fight?
When I say that, I don't say it lightly that it's been our best ever camp. I don't do all that. You don't need to be slagging fighters and knocking them and, to get an advantage. We've been together now, is it 4 years, Reece, or 5? Yeah, 4.5, 5 years now. And he's getting better and better. As you've seen yourself, I don't have to convince anybody how good Max is. I think what a lot of people do is because of Max's kind of demeanour and his nature, he's a mild-mannered guy. But when he steps between them ropes, he's an absolute demon, isn't he? I think George is overlooking this and he's mistaking it for a little bit of weakness.
Is that bode well for Maxi? Does that go in his favour, the fact that he is that way inclined? He isn't a guy who's going to go out there and say, F you this, blah, blah, that. He turns up and sort of it lures them into that false sense of everything's okay, and then on fight night, it's game time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've seen how calm he is, you've seen how reserved he is. He's like that by nature. Maxi knows how good he is. He don't need to talk himself into a fight. I mean, I see from George today a lot of nervous energy. He's piled a load of pressure on himself, lots and lots of pressure on himself. He's on about sacrifices. We all make sacrifices. It don't matter where you are, it don't matter where your kids are, and I understand that, they're all family men, but we all make sacrifices in boxing, and that's your job. It don't matter where they are, you've still got to perform. And whenever all the talking's done, we're almost there now, we've just got them out of the way in. Then he's got to climb in them ropes and he's got to back up everything he's said. For me, I think he's going to find it very, very difficult. He's talked himself into this thing that he's some sort of superhuman, elite-level fighter. Let's just go back on it and have a little look. I've watched him over the last few days. What I see is him losing every round to Devin Haney. Elite-level fighters don't lose 24 rounds of boxing. They don't. The second time round, he lost even more convincing than he did first time. I understand he's with a new outfit. That takes time to gel. I don't care how much you try and prepare, These little changes all have an effect and an impact. So for me, he don't know where he's at yet. Until he climbs in them ropes, he don't know where he's at.
Do you think George will have any hang-ups over the Devin Haney situation? He obviously shared 24 rounds, like we say, secured his family's future with 2 huge purses, defence of the title, then he obviously had the chance to win and back, didn't. Do you think there'll be any hang-ups from that from him, do you think, or could that have an alter effect and fuel him?
Oh, of course it will, absolutely. I mean, listen, 2 massive purses and he's secured, he's in his family's future, and what, he deserves that because he's a fighter. And he goes through that, he's put himself through it, all them hours of training. But of course he'll have hang-ups. I mean, when you've just lost 24 rounds of boxing, he's been the distance twice, he's lost twice, there's his last 2 outings. Previous to that, well, people question whether that was real Lopez that got in there with him, don't they? Even Lopez himself has questioned that. You can go back even further, where, for me, Mickey Bay were well in, well, now I won't say well in front, but it was a nip and tuck fight until he hit him with a terrific shot. That was what swung the fight for him against Mickey Bay. But then we can go again with Selby, can't we? And you could argue that Selby won that fight. So where's your elite level fighter? You know, for me, elite level fighters are your Devin Haneys that don't lose a round of boxing, you know. Young kid like that comes along, gets in, commands everything with his jab, makes small adjustments through the fight.
Yeah.
You know, that's an elite level fighter, your Devin Haney's.
Would you say, even though you don't believe he's maybe an elite level fighter, that this still is a step up for Maxi and Maxi's toughest opponent, would you?
Yeah, of course it is. I'm not going to sit here and just, you know, tell fairy stories. He's a very, very good fighter, or he won't be here, you know. He is a good fighter. Maybe it is a step up for Maxi. And again, you know, you've got to have a look, and Maxi Hughes is very, very difficult to bet against. You know, like I say, he's mild-mannered, he's reserved, he don't do a lot of slagging, he don't like to get into that kind of dragging other fighters down. He don't need to do that to build his confidence. He is confident, he's switched on. And you could argue that it could be a very, very tough night for George, you know. I mean, listen, it's boxing. Anything can happen in boxing. But George needs to understand that. I don't think George understands that. He thinks everything happens in boxing around him. I don't think that's going to be the case on Saturday.
Well, final word. Why does Maxi Hughes go in there on Saturday and beat George Kambosos?
Because he's a $7 million bull rider.
I had a feeling that I'd get dropped in at some point. Well, look, Sean, very much looking forward to this Saturday. Glad to be here to witness it. Appreciate you giving Boxing Social so much of your time, you and your team. And touch wood, we catch up after the fight and a good performance.
Absolutely, thank you.